There's a strange thing that happens when you spend enough years trying to manage yourself internally. You stop fully living in the moments you're inside of because part of your attention is always somewhere else. Observing, correcting, interpreting, checking. Even during good moments. Especially during good moments sometimes. You can be sitting with people you love, laughing, eating dinner, watching a movie, driving home at night with music playing quietly in the background, and some part of the mind is still asking questions about the experience while it's happening. Am I present enough? Why doesn't this feel complete yet? Shouldn't I feel different by now? What does this mean about me? Am I growing? Am I failing? Am I wasting my life? And after enough time living like that, you don't always realize how distant you've become from simple existence itself. Not because you're broken, not because you're shallow, but because the mind slowly turns life into something that needs to be monitored instead of lived. I think a lot of people quietly live this way now, even people who seem calm, even people who are spiritually aware, even people who understand psychology, healing, growth, consciousness, mindfulness, all of it. The mind can take even beautiful ideas and turn them into another layer of self-observation, another thing to manage, another thing to succeed at. And eventually you start noticing how exhausting it is to always be standing slightly outside your own life trying to evaluate it while it's happening. There's a kind of loneliness in that, a distance that's hard to explain, because externally, life may look normal. You still go to work, you still pay bills, you still answer texts, you still take care of responsibilities, you still laugh sometimes. But internally, it can feel like you're never fully arriving anywhere because part of you is always analyzing the moment instead of letting the moment touch you directly. I don't think most people mean to live this way. I think it slowly develops over time. Stress does it. Pain does it. Trauma does it. Social media definitely does it. Constant stimulation does it. The pressure to become someone does it too. You start treating your own existence like a project that always needs adjustment. And at first, self-awareness feels productive, helpful even, because sometimes it is. Sometimes awareness helps us break destructive patterns. Sometimes reflection helps us heal. Sometimes learning genuinely changes the way we move through life. But there's also a point where constant self-monitoring starts creating friction that didn't need to exist. You begin carrying yourself too heavily. Every emotion becomes information. Every reaction becomes analysis. Every hard day becomes a personal evaluation. And slowly, without realizing it, you stop letting life simply reach you. I noticed this recently in a really ordinary moment. Nothing spiritual about it. Nothing dramatic. I was just outside for a while near the end of the day. The air had started cooling down, and everything was getting quiet in that way evenings sometimes do. Cars passing farther away. Wind moving through trees, somebody mowing a lawn somewhere in the distance. And for maybe 30 seconds, there wasn't commentary. No mental correcting, no evaluating whether I was present, no trying to hold onto the moment. Life was just arriving exactly as it was. And what stood out to me afterward wasn't that the moment felt profound. It actually felt incredibly normal. That's what made me notice it. Because so much of life may not be missing due to lack of meaning, but because attention has become so crowded with self-reference that we barely allow reality to land anymore. Not fully, not directly. We experience life while simultaneously narrating it. And narration creates distance. Not always unhealthy distance, but distance nonetheless. Once you realize this, you start noticing how often the mind inserts itself between you and ordinary existence. You drink coffee while mentally somewhere else. You hug someone while thinking about tomorrow. You sit in silence while unconsciously trying to improve yourself. You rest while wondering if you're resting correctly. Even peace becomes performance sometimes. And I think a lot of people are tired in ways sleep doesn't fix because the mind rarely stops positioning itself between the person and the moment they're living. There's almost no direct contact anymore. Only interpretation. And interpretation is endless. That's part of why some people keep searching for bigger experiences, bigger breakthroughs, bigger transformations. Because when life is constantly filtered through commentary, ordinary existence starts feeling strangely unreachable. So people assume they need more intensity, more healing, more answers, more spiritual experiences, more motivation. But sometimes the shift is much quieter than that. Sometimes it begins when you stop trying to turn every moment into something. When you stop asking experience to constantly explain itself. When you let sadness just feel sad for a minute without turning it into identity. When you let a good moment remain small instead of trying to preserve it forever. When you let the day be tiring without building a story around exhaustion. There's something deeply human about allowing moments to exist before immediately interpreting them. And honestly, this isn't something I think gets mastered once and for all. I still catch myself drifting back into self-monitoring constantly, especially during difficult periods. The mind wants control when life feels uncertain. It wants reassurance. It wants conclusions. It wants to know where everything is heading. And sometimes it even wants healing to become measurable. But life itself rarely moves that way. Real life is messier than philosophy. Some days you feel clear. Some days you feel emotionally heavy for no obvious reason. Some days you overthink everything again. Some days you feel deeply connected to people. Some days you feel strangely distant even while surrounded by them. And through all of it, life keeps moving. Morning still arrives. The dishes still need done. People still text you. Work still calls. Your body still gets tired. The dog still wants outside. The world keeps unfolding in ordinary ways regardless of what the mind is doing about it. And maybe part of peace is realizing life was never waiting for perfect internal clarity to begin. Maybe we've already been inside life the entire time while mentally standing just outside of it trying to determine whether we were doing it correctly. I think that's why certain moments hit so deeply sometimes. Not because they're extraordinary, but because for a brief second the mental distance disappears. A laugh catches you off guard. A song reaches you unexpectedly. You look at someone you love and suddenly feel the reality of time. You watch your kids getting older. You sit in the car after a long day and the silence finally settles instead of feeling uncomfortable. And for a moment, existence isn't something you're trying to solve. You're just inside it, fully, directly, without needing to immediately turn it into understanding. I think people underestimate how healing simple contact with life can actually be. Not dramatic transformation, just contact. Feeling rain without mentally narrating it. Listening instead of preparing responses. Watching the sky without needing the moment to become symbolic. Letting yourself be affected by ordinary existence again. Because once constant self-reference softens a little, life starts feeling less distant. Not easier necessarily, just more immediate, more reachable. And strangely enough, ordinary moments often begin carrying more depth than the experiences we spent years chasing. Not because the moments changed, but because attention became less divided. You finally start noticing how much of life was always trying to reach you through simple things. A familiar voice, a quiet house, music late at night, the sound of dishes moving in the kitchen, the feeling of being tired after a long day of real effort, someone checking on you, someone needing you. Even grief sometimes carries this strange directness to it. Pain has a way of pulling people out of abstraction and back into immediate reality, not because suffering is good, but because certain experiences temporarily interrupt the endless mental narration about life and force contact with life itself. And maybe that's part of what many people are actually longing for underneath everything else. Not perfection, not endless happiness, not becoming untouchable. Maybe they just want to feel connected to existence again without so much interference standing in between. To sit with people they love without mentally leaving the room. To wake up without immediately carrying psychological weight into the day. To stop treating every emotion like evidence about who they are. To let moments pass naturally without gripping or resisting them constantly. Once you realize this, something subtle starts changing. Not all at once, not permanently, but enough to notice. You start catching moments where life reaches you before the mind organizes it. And those moments feel strangely honest. Not euphoric, not transcendent, just real. And maybe real has been enough more often than we thought. Maybe life was never asking to become extraordinary before it could matter. Maybe being here was already significant before the mind started measuring the experience. I think a lot of people are exhausted from trying to arrive somewhere psychologically while life continues unfolding quietly underneath the search. And maybe part of growing is slowly allowing yourself to return to what was already here. Not with indifference, not with passivity, but with less resistance between yourself and ordinary existence. Less constant narration, less internal management, less trying to convert every experience into progress. Just moments arriving, a life unfolding, a human being learning little by little how to let reality touch them again. And honestly, maybe that's already a much deeper form of living than we give it credit for. If this episode connected with you in some way, feel free to like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who might need the reminder that life does not always need to be solved before it can be lived.